All right. You ready to rock this? 2. There you go.
Nice.
Third time's charm. All right, so episode 5 here. To all the haters that said it was impossible.
We made it to episode 5.
This is going to be our 5th and final episode.
Probably a good call.
To all the haters out there.
They were right.
What podcast is this?
What's the name again?
Can't remember.
Humour Strong?
Hum?
Stronger Through Humour podcast. Yeah, this was a fiery start here.
Oh, yeah.
Flaming start, yeah.
Sponsored by Humes.
Sponsored by Hims. Scratch that. Scratch that.
Yeah.
We'll let that out. Yeah, we got a pretty decent one up in the stoking in the fire here. Cody's very eager to talk about some stuff.
Always.
And Joe's very Joe has some big news as well.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I do. Well,
yeah.
I'm excited.
I got up. It's not that exciting.
Oh,
I'm
still excited.
Mm-hmm. Cody gets really excited about this stuff.
He gets excited about anything.
That's why I got this table here. Okay, so yeah, I guess we'll just stick to what we've kind of been doing with the intros. Cody's gonna talk.
Actually,
well, just interrupt me.
Yeah, I will. I was told we should have a jingle in the beginning of our podcast.
A jingle?
A jingle?
Yeah. So I was thinking we could come up with a jingle right now.
We have an intro song?
Maybe. Or
like a fight song?
Just something.
A Stronger Through Humour fight song.
Ooh.
Okay.
Something. I don't know how we're going to do it. I didn't bring any instruments.
We're looking around like there's going to be some instruments.
We got this.
Just pull out a guitar.
Yeah. Oh, I got some maracas here.
Okay, Cody, what are you gonna? Cody will be the lyrical stuff. That is not an instrument, Cody. That is a water bottle. What the hell is going on? Cody's lost it. Cody's given up.
We got drums. That's what I was gonna do.
No.
Yours is different. Yours is pills. Totally different.
That's true.
I guess we're going for like a more Caribbean.
Need the steel drum.
Okay, so who's gonna play the lyrics here?
Oh, I don't know what the
I
lyrics
feel like I'm defaulting to In the Jungle.
Stronger through.
This is getting.
Okay, I'll set the tone. You guys add on to it.
We'll do In the Jungle, the Mighty Jungle. We're stronger through humor tonight.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. I'm just playing the drums. You're taking it away.
Someone has to start it off.
I am not starting.
I control everything. I control everything.
We'll do a one word each.
Stronger.
Through.
Humor. Is that
Yeah, that's it.
Did we get?
All right.
What the hell
We
was
lost
that?
the few listeners we had are tuned out.
Yeah. Oh, there's our jingle.
Jangle.
Oh man.
Jangle.
Okay.
It's the most ridiculous thing we've done yet.
Slangle.
Jangle.
Hey man, they wanted a jingle. We got them a jingle.
You gotta give people what they want.
We'll make a real one for next time.
That wasn't real enough.
That was not real enough.
That wasn't real enough.
Cody didn't try. He wasn't that excited about that one.
Yeah.
All right. What else do you want to interrupt me with?
So people are saying we should be doing a jingle before.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right.
All right, let's get on track, Cody.
So yeah, we'll briefly update on that the Movement Powerlifting Classic 3.0.
3.0. So we are now up to 24 registered athletes. We've got 8 males and 16 females.
Damn.
So males got to step up, start registering.
Wham bam, thank you.
Especially the ones at Movement. A lot of the guys are not registered yet, so hurry up and do so. Yeah, we got 6 weeks left?
Well, by the time this one comes out.
Or I believe 5 weeks.
Yeah,
so
5 weeks.
People have 3 weeks left to register, so you're running out of time.
We got the 2
weeks prior, you can't register within the final 2 weeks. So you got 3 weeks to figure out if you're ready for it or not and sign the entry form. just a reminder, it's on our website, movementfp.ca. There's a link to sign up for athletes. There's also a link to sign up for volunteers. We are up to 8 volunteers right now.
Volunteers are ramping up too.
So yeah, we got 4 with this week. So hopefully we get some more people still registering for that, because we could definitely
How many volunteers do we need?
I'd like to get close to 20.
50 million.
Yeah, 20, 15 for
More
sure.
than competitors.
There's lots of different roles, so don't think like you have to do a specific thing. We need people helping with the front door, admissions. We need announcer security, people making sure it's only the lifters and coaches in the back area, warm-up area.
Yeah, it's huge.
We need people helping with the attempts, so like the numbers and everything like that. And just floaters, just people kind of making their way around, seeing who needs help with things. But also, the more we have, the less each individual person has to spend volunteering. So it's not like an all-day thing.
Are there any incentives for volunteers?
Yeah. So everyone that volunteers will get a free month,
Cody high five.
3 months of movement and a handshake or high five for me. So that's pretty awesome. Or Joe, but
No, not me.
No, Tommy's not. You don't want to. Shit.
Yeah. You want to see these puppies.
I guess we can make that announcement too that I am competing. So making the return.
You're making that announcement right now?
Yeah.
We can make that.
We can make that announcement that I'm competing
too.
right now. Yes,
So,
we sure could. Because you just
now
did.
we are down to 1 less spot. So there's 9 males registered.
Now we're
16 females.
One less spot.
Who else
And
do you want to announce?
hurry up. Spots are filling up.
Wow.
Now we're down to 1 less spot.
Hey, we gotta get these people
What's
ready to go.
24 plus 1 less.
1 less.
1 less open spot.
That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got for powerlifting.
Did you register?
No, that's what I just said. I gotta do it.
Wow, owner of the gym doesn't even register.
Hey, we just obviously I can reserve a spot for myself. It's kind of easy.
Yeah, you plus.
So,
Actually, it's 43 lifters, not 42.
Bench only. Bench only.
Squat only.
Yeah. He's gonna come up
He
with
open.
like pyrotechnic.
Yeah.
He's gonna have
Hey, those are IPF approved. Just Cody.
Yeah.
How come he's the only one that gets his own intro song?
Has a robe on.
hey man, own your own
pushing
gym
chairs
and
out of
you
the
can
way.
do whatever you want.
He comes from the front entrance,
Yeah.
swings in from the rope.
That's what half the volunteers are for, to like carry him on a chair or something.
We need 20.
Everyone starts chanting too.
Yeah.
Cody, Cody,
Yeah.
Cody. You're the best, Cody.
Fails his leg.
I fail first lift. Oh, no total, just out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only wanted 1.
Oh man.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely happening.
That's what he's gonna be doing.
That's what the program's been prepping us for.
I don't care about the numbers. I just care about
I don't know. If you
Entertainment.
look at Cody's Instagram, his rope climbing, you would suspect that
That's
there's
true.
some shady business going on.
Shady
With some,
business.
Shiesty.
yeah,
Hey man, that's the
dude.
secret to the games is all the crazy lifts and
all the rope climbs.
rope climbs and
Synchronized lifts.
You.
You. Going back to
Updates.
volunteers, do we need any for like to help set up and stuff like that? Or
yeah, actually, it's a good call. The night before, we will be setting up the whole meet, so it's ready to go first thing in the morning. So if anyone's available Friday evening, like 3 o'clock, we usually start.
Will not be available.
So 3 o'clock on, we will just be obviously moving everything out of the way that we don't need and setting up the curtains and the warm-up area, all the chairs, tables, things like that.
Do
So,
movement trainers need to know about this setup?
they do know about it, yeah.
Like meaning that like they will not be allowed to train or be able to use the gym during that time.
That's an accurate call, yeah.
Okay.
You're the only one that would affect, I think. So
So are you gonna tell me or?
Yeah.
you kind of knew that.
You can tell me right now.
So you can't train Friday nights or Saturday, and
Any Friday
just
or Saturday.
you come up with the line middle of the platform.
Middle of
Like,
the
sorry, we're
platform.
actually
Start.
We're starting our session now.
Yeah.
So the meets on April 16th?
Nope.
18th?
18th.
And
We'll have our own on the 16th though.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna be doing some top sangles
A week prior?
April 11th.
Okay. If you
He's
guys
too
wanna,
good for the real meets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If you guys want to come down to see Tommy.
He doesn't want to go.
When it comes down to the movement, and
He
see
doesn't want to lift on
Tommy
the 18th because he's
hit
already
some
well above
below
us.
average numbers.
Yeah.
Feel free.
So why aren't you doing the real meets? We want to let people know why.
I mean, is there a reason?
I don't know. I'm asking. The strongest guy at movements not doing the meet.
I mean, strongest with not being the strongest, I guess. But yeah, so I'm going to be being evaluated to be a CPU certified coach.
Ooh.
And yes. Yeah, so I'll be handling between 4 and 5 athletes. So it's going to be a busy meet to begin with. I wanted to qualify for nationals, like build on it, just like athletes were, but I mean, I would have to compete at this meet, at provincials, at Western. It would just be literally, I'd have to compete at every meet that my athletes would be competing at.
Yeah.
So it just wouldn't make sense at all. And then, I was talking to one of the main guys that would be evaluating me for the CPU, and he just said, like, you got to make a choice between like what you want as an athlete and what you want as a coach. And I've always like said that I'm a better coach than an athlete. So yeah, and I have much higher aspirations for me as a coach as opposed to me as an athlete. Yeah. So thanks for calling me out there, Cody. But I mean, I'll still hit some. We didn't do it the last for the Brickhouse meet. Just because like after the new year and everything, it was a pretty crazy time to begin with. But it's probably Monty. Thanks, Monty, for interrupting me.
Shout out to Monty.
But then, yeah, we did the meet before where we usually go to the venues, and I just do like a top single, and we usually try and work out at the venues that the meets are at, just to get a little bit more adapted to that and familiar. But I mean, we got home ice advantage here, so.
Yeah, home ice.
There's literally gonna be ice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the platform is ice for this meet.
Hey, we had someone ask
Lifting
if
on
we could
skates.
do an ice lift, like the 3 lifts, and while wearing skates. That was brought up before. If you could do a squat, bench, and deadlift while on skates. So, hey, maybe movement will be the first one.
And the last one.
The last one, but first one.
And also,
And
once again, also the last.
Yeah.
So, Joe, are you going to be competing?
Nope.
Nope.
No.
That's quick. No.
Yeah, well, I'm not even ready.
Not ready.
Well, 5 weeks.
Hey, that's lots of time.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time.
Yeah, that's a quick water cut.
I thought I saw you on the list of registered athletes, though.
I'm a backup.
Backup.
Yeah.
You're a backup competitor?
Understudy?
So if someone gets hurt,
Understudy.
you take their spot?
Yeah.
Sweet. Because we always have at least one back out.
Yeah.
No matter what weight class.
Last year,
You
last
gotta
year
step
2
in.
backed out.
They actually just leave their equipment here, and you got to use all their equipment.
Oh,
so their
easy.
shoes, their knee sleeves, their singlet.
I've been trying to fit into Cody's belt and Howie's. I'm almost
You're almost there.
there.
You got to get that
Almost.
waist trainer.
I have 3 of them.
Do you have the T one?
Oh no.
The belly T one?
I've just been wearing corsets.
Oh, what an idiot!
I know.
Yeah, you got to get the T ones out.
Yeah.
T
You
wraps.
gotta step it up here.
Yeah.
The one that makes you sweat in there too, where you rub that.
Oh yeah, that's what I like. Yeah.
Okay. I got 5 weeks.
Nothing. I got 4 weeks.
You got 4.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's gonna be.
You're at a disadvantage here.
Good luck, bud.
All right, so not Cody. Cody, we've had enough of your chat.
Good.
Get out of here.
So Joe,
Yeah.
been smoking some meats?
Speaking of meats, I've been smoking some meats.
Nice. So what'd you smoke? Did you smoke it or did you grill it or what? I don't know what we
Straight
talked
smoked
about.
it.
How long did it take? What was it? Where'd you do it?
Where'd you do it? Well, originally we were thinking of doing a brisket, which would have been 8
Classic.
hours.
Fuck.
8 hours-ish, but we're already running late. By the time we would have picked it up and prepped it and stuff, it would have been 4. So
It's a midnight brisket.
yeah, we just didn't want to wait until midnight before we actually got to it. So we decided to do a little smaller cuts. We got two kind of smaller roasts.
Mm-hmm.
That went on for 4 hours, and we also got some ribs that were kind of cut up into like bite-sized pieces.
Oh, finger looking good. Hey?
Oh yeah, those went for 2 hours.
Jeez.
2 hours. And we also did honey garlic sausage.
See, I got a question here.
Yeah.
So if you're planning on eating, say, smoked meat,
Yeah.
you probably have a meal as you're getting this stuff ready in the smoker, right? Because you're not going to be like, I'm going to put stuff in the smoker. I'm not going to
Just sit there and wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes a lot of times we would just get smaller meats and add it in, and once it's done, we'll like pick at it.
Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah.
So just pure meat, nothing else?
Yeah. Well, yesterday, during my smoking day, I had a bunch of trail mix. I had half a bag of trail
You
mix.
still got some
I
trail mix.
saw that today.
Some straggler.
Yeah.
Straggler mix.
And also, I brought some ribs for you guys today.
Oh,
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
Oh, very nice of
gonna
you.
have to mic it up, nuke it up.
Nope.
Just eat it cold. Yeah.
Cold ribs.
And I'll get that to you guys after this.
Wow. No, let's do it right now.
After this. All right.
Should have
Podcast is
had it
done.
right on the table, ready to go.
It's just
So,
cold. Yeah. You just hear the stickiness. Yep.
yeah.
That's my meat.
Mm-hmm. Some man meat.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, shout out to Steeners at Steeners on IG. That's my meat man.
That's me, man.
Yeah.
What, can you give more background on Steeners? Because it doesn't sound like a meat factory.
No, it's a dude.
It's a dude.
Yeah. It's just a dude.
It's just
It's just a dude made out of meat.
a dude with a lot of meat.
Slaying.
Just slinging me.
Love that guy.
Yeah, great guy.
Yeah, great guy.
Great guy, though. So, Cody, how's the GQ application going?
I think he applied already. We're just waiting
Did
to
you
hear
hear
back.
Waiting to hear back.
Yeah.
I think that's what that photo shoot was all about. I had to get my, the headshots
The GQ
done.
one?
The postural headshot.
The postural, yeah.
He has a sweater vest on.
Yeah, he did have a sweater vest on. Yeah.
But
And
just for that.
and
That
a
was-
cardigan.
That was the GQ one he needs to hear back from, and the ESPN Bodies issue.
Oh, is it the nude edition?
Yeah, I heard we were going to be doing that one down the road.
Yeah, so you're gonna need spray tan.
Spray tan.
Yeah. Or just go on the roof and just bathe.
No sun. Huh?
Yeah, sunbathing.
Yeah, well, we thought get more business to movement. It's all about photo shoots now, magazines, and
One way or the other.
one
Either
way or the other.
business is gonna go up or
Yeah.
it's gonna go down.
Yeah.
More exposure,
It's
good or
either gonna
bad.
go up or it's gonna go down.
All right, on to the next one. I think, we got some newbie question.
Yeah, I actually got one from IG.
Oh no.
Oh no. It's not.
Okay, who is it from? Can we say the
Yeah.
buddy guy pal
From
it,
Tommy.
bro?
Yeah.
It's from Squad Face Embrace.
At not Joe.
Yeah.
It's from, I think Cody knows him. Cody knows him. It's at Super Cesaros. Super SEZROS. He says, "Hello,
Oh, yeah.
hello, long time listener, first time messenger. I have a question for the podcast. I've heard varying opinions on skull crushers for a tri workout. Some people say it's best for your triceps, others say it's the worst. What's your guys' opinion on skull crushers?"
That's really good. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Next.
Great question.
Yeah. Fantastic question.
Next. I think I like skull crushers in that you can change up the movement so much. Like you can use the easy curl bar, dumbbells, barbell, cables. Yeah, you can do anything with it. It causes, say I have a client that
Touch my
little
feet.
footsie here. It causes a lot of shoulder discomfort getting into that position, and a lot of people just do it wrong with a lot of. Look at that glue band. Do it wrong with like adding a lot of shoulder movement with it.
Yeah.
So when the weight gets heavier, they're just more or less doing
Cranking
like
it.
that, cranking, reefing on it. I mean, it can cause a lot of stress, obviously in that tendon here behind that elbow. But I mean, if you're using moderate weight with anything,
I think that's the biggest thing. I think people tend to overload it
Yeah.
right from the start.
Mhm.
They
like
just
kinda crank it, kind of like
I like it.
bicep curls
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Well,
I found like a lot of to get, if it's flat, I have a lot of discomfort. But if I put the bench on an incline, I find that it works out a lot harder. And that's just me.
Yeah.
And everybody, that's the best exercise.
Yeah.
you
And well, the
should-
biggest thing you said too is about finding that starting point and like limiting that shoulder movement too.
Yeah.
Right? Like you got to set that position first and then really have that straight tricep work.
Mhm.
If you're overloading it though, it's going to be a lot harder to maintain
Yeah.
position and you are going to start using your shoulders a lot more.
Mhm.
I think people just, a lot of arching too. because they're
that's
overloading it, so
Mhm.
like they're not set in a good strong position.
Yeah.
And
unstable shoulders. I would get this guy to look up like a jam or a JM press. That's going to do with like with a barbell that really works your triceps as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I really like that one instead of the skull crusher, and that's where you just like bring the bar down to like above your chest, bring it in, and then bring it back up.
I think biggest thing too though is this is individualized to each person too. Like if it feels good for you, if you really like for the tricep work and that, do it. But if it's not comfortable, find a different variation. Like,
Yeah, if it's
really,
if working.
it's not a type of exercise where you need to include
You have
in
you
your
have
training.
To include it, yeah.
No exception.
It's the
So
cornerstone. Of
just
all.
find
One of
a variation of
compound
it that's most comfortable for you, and
You got the squat,
Yeah.
you got the bench press, deadlift, and skull crusher. Those are your
replace the overhead press. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are your compounds.
Yeah, I like doing them too.
Yeah.
I feel like they target just differently from.
You do them like every day though, arm day every day, right?
You gotta grow that one tricep.
Yeah. Tries for the guy.
Tries for the guys.
What?
Yeah. But yeah, I think I would do it with dumbbells too, because that's going to give you a lot more freedom in terms
Definitely,
of that
yeah.
wrist position, and you're going to be able to really isolate that one side, as opposed to like you're going to have that one strong side that's maybe going to put you in a weird position with like an easy curl bar or something like that.
Yeah,
I would
a
use
curl bar will definitely give you more freedom, range, like position wise
general.
compared to a straight bar.
freedom in
But
general.
that dumbbells, like you said, definitely
Mhm.
dumbbells will be the best option.
There's a lot of variety.
Yeah.
Like you could hold one of those.
Mhm.
Weights too. Doing it
No,
like that.
I wouldn't do that.
Okay. No weights.
Don't listen to Joe.
Yeah.
No, that's a good one too. Yeah,
Yeah.
holding the plate. Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. Thanks, Semi Sandroff.
Semi center at semi center. Thanks a lot.
That was it. Yeah.
Super Cesaros.
Ah, this close. Basically,
Right there.
Yeah. Almost.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna butcher that one.
That's
That was
fair.
a nightmare.
Yeah.
But
Skull crushers.
so yeah, on to the next. So our next topic is we had, I guess, another question come up about when can children start lifting, or when is it safe for children to start lifting? And I know I got my kind of regimen that I've talked about that like
Nice.
my eventual child is gonna follow. That's like it seems very strict, but
Your child's already destined.
is destined to be,
He's-
or
he has
he
a
or
path
she.
already- Yeah, that's right. He or she has a
He is
path-
destined.
He or she has a path already set out.
Yeah, and they have no choice.
Yeah.
But I would say like introducing compound movement. So the hinge is essential for like any human being. Like we've talked about previously, is like you move like a human first, athlete second, and then whatever your goal is third. So same thing as like, and there's a lot of studies showing like right from 6 months old you can start a child swimming and get them more comfortable with like water. So I would say from like, this is like just my like outlook would be like from 6 months to 2 years, this child's gonna be swimming, being active swimming. 2 to 6 years they're gonna be powerlifting. And then that's who they are.
No.
But 2 to 6 years gymnastics, like tumbling around, just being a kid.
That's a solid.
And then like 6 to 10 years just doing like the seasonal sports, so soccer, ring it, hockey, whatever it is, curling, tennis. And then from 11 to 14, a little bit more intramural sports, a little bit more organized. And then from 14 on, they can more or less specialize. And then when does like strength training come in? I mean, you could start when they're 6 years old, but like a PVC.
Yeah.
And you could still load it, but I mean, the strength from a child, they're not going to have the amount of hormones to actually build muscle. So the amount of strength that they're going to get is going to be from their muscles adapting on like how to move.
Actually be a human.
Yeah, I think the
How to be
biggest
human. Yeah.
the biggest thing is you have to teach those proper movement patterns first. Like you brought up hinge and all that, right? Like they have to learn the movements. They have to be comfortable. They have to do you have to be able to do a body weight squat. You have to be able to hinge properly.
Yeah.
You can slowly add in, like you said, like you can add in like PVC, like a dowel, you'll progress that way. But you're definitely not wanting a young kid to go straight to barbell training, right? Like you can't just be like, hey, we're going to use this barbell and we're going to lift, right? So
probably wouldn't even be able to do
as you progress, as they get older, you're going to start with those more so body weight movements. You can progress, you can add in dowel, you can slowly add in maybe kettlebells or whatever for a squat, like a goblet squat, things like that, right? But and then once they really have good positioning, movement patterns are all set, then you can slowly start adding in more weight. But you're definitely not going to put them straight into like, oh, we're going 1 RMs. We're maxing out here and like. But the younger you are, just building those movement patterns is huge. Yeah. The more comfortable you are with basic movements, it's only going to help all athletes going forwards, no matter what your sport is, with lifting and everything like that. So
yeah, I mean they have. I know in Olympic weightlifting they have like technical meets as well, where like the bar is like empty and it's set up at a certain height, and they get judged on their technique as opposed to the weight on the bar.
For kids or just in general?
For kids.
Okay.
Can we do that for Joe at the powerlifting meet? Yeah. Joe can just do like the bar for all three reds.
Yeah. Reds.
Shit. Damn it.
Curling it everywhere. Like,
I'm out of here.
So what are some like big kind of negative conceptions on kids lifting weights or like getting into that type of thing?
I would say the first one is going to be stunting growth.
Yeah, that's the number one thing you're definitely going to hear.
Yeah.
Or the fear. The fear is you're going to stunt growth for sure. Yeah. That and just injuries too.
That's true.
You're too young, you're going to hurt yourself. Is a big one.
Yeah, and I think I had like that was something that I've talked about, like just having knowledgeable coaches in like anything, right? So if you have like a parent that doesn't specialize in like what actual movement is, and they're coaching their kid in hockey, and then they're like, well, we do this in practice, or we do this in games, so we're going to do this in practice, and then you have a bunch of terrible motor patterns that you're just replicating over time, those people are going to be injured over time. Whereas like I call them like new body clients, or it's like people that move, it's like they just got their body today. And they're like, how do I move this thing around? And that's could be more ideal if like you haven't squatted before with a barbell, and say if you're mobile enough but you're just incredibly unstable and you don't know how to move, that's going to be a lot easier potentially to teach how to do that, as opposed to I have a guy that squats like 500 plus pounds and he's coming and he's like, I have this knee pain, and those motor patterns are going to be so ingrained, right? For sure. Okay. But I mean, teaching a kid, obviously, like kids have growth spurts. Yeah. So if you look at probably the majority of like 2-year-olds to 10-year-olds, they're gonna, or 2-year-olds to 8-year-olds, before that growth spurt hits, they're gonna be able to do a full squat without like obviously any pain or any like kind of awkwardness. But as soon as that growth spurt hits, like a few months at a time, kids are going to be moving really awkwardly, and they'll like say basketball, for example, a kid's playing basketball and he's like so good, then he comes doesn't play for 3 months because of summer, went on vacation, whatever, comes back to school for the team, and he's like, how do I use these long ass limbs, right? So it's just like that's more like proprioception of like having that body awareness, and strength training helps a lot with that. Like having that awareness of like where your limbs are at each time, or just awareness of like where you are in like positioning in space and everything, right?
Another big thing I think too is when you start younger, it's going to actually, again, lifting properly and going through proper motions, but it's going to help prevent injuries for kids that are only doing one specific type of movement over and over again. And like one example I think of is like a runner, like someone doing cross country track in school, right? If all they're doing is running all the time, you're going to build up certain muscles more than others, obviously. You're going to have overuse in certain muscles. They're way more likely to be injured if that's all they're doing versus if they are following a plan that's going to help build up the other muscles, get balance throughout the body, things like that, right? So,
and even like resiliency, like we kind of talked about, like you're not going to, like the hormones in a 8 to 12-year-old kid isn't going to, well, I mean 8 to 10-year-old, we'll say before that big spurt hits. Isn't going to be much, but before that testosterone kind of kicks in, that person's not going to be able to build a lot of muscle. Like that human isn't going to have the environment to. So, I mean, you're going to have to make it fun. because kids are not going to want to do it. And that's like the big thing with like my little progression there is because it's going to be dependent on what that kid wants. But I mean, teaching, I think that's huge for like ages 2 to 6, teaching a kid how to fall, because kids fall all the time. They're like they're clumsy as hell, and you know they're going to get hurt all the time. But if you can teach a kid how to fall, it's going to be so much better. And
kids are tough too. They're malleable.
I mean, before they know that like they get attention for like being like I was really
they
bad.
fall down the stairs and be fine.
I mean, I still hurt myself in the gym just for attention. So
did that just happen the other week?
I'm looking around, crying.
Is anyone paying attention?
I'm okay. But
I wake up the wrong way. My back hurts for like 2 days.
Yeah, you are that meme.
Yeah, I am.
falling when you're a kid, or getting like incredible accident, and then you're fine. Then
sneeze the wrong way.
Yeah, that's it. That's it for the week. That's it for the week. But yeah, and then so I mean with kids, I would say that's a big misconception, because you can start, you know, training them as soon as possible. I mean, as long as that coach makes it fun.
Is there any like no-nos, so to say,
dads?
In terms of like strength training or
for kids,
fitness and stuff for kids? Yeah, what shouldn't you be doing?
I wouldn't say.
I think it goes back to the time, like how fast you're progressing to something else.
Yeah, I mean like
don't jump straight to it.
Like but I mean like movement wise, no. I mean as long as that, I mean, Olympic weightlifting is seen as like a really dangerous thing. And there's kids doing Olympic weightlifting and like maxing out, but if you look at their joints and everything, like they're fine. Like it's, and if you're looking at, as long as they're maintaining that position.
Yeah,
but, I mean, should go without saying, but I mean, if we have to say it, like as long as that kid's being put in a good position, you can load whatever the hell you want. I mean, that weight's probably going to stay the same for 5 years or so, just because, or like a few years, because they're not going to.
Definitely shouldn't have the mentality of like we're trying to increase weight all the time.
Yeah.
No, they shouldn't be going for like maxes and stuff like that.
Or if they are going for maxes, it's like, hey, like you want to have some fun today, or like in a program, like hey, we're having fun today, instead of like you got to hit this because
see how strong you are today.
There's we're qualifying for this or this. I mean, it's like this
a little bit.
Yeah,
that's
you're gonna get
more on the extreme side.
Yeah, you're gonna affect some kids probably mental outlook on sport, because I mean, you'll have that now even with older athletes, like when they get too competitive, like they get really anxious, right?
Yeah.
And that could be from like some childhood trauma with being like
they didn't like complete their lift or win. Or
and it just like hits them really tough. And I mean, there's gonna be a lot more like strategies to kind of combat that. But I mean, activity with youth is so crucial, especially now. Like there's so much keeping like kids inactive, like. Tablets and it's so convenient for parents. I mean, that's going to be, I imagine, like if or when I have a child, like I can't imagine coming home. I mean, my dog is like, I'm like, oh my god, like we have to go outside for like a 30-minute walk and all that, and it's a big hassle. But
it's a good point though. Like 10 out of 10 times I'm going to push a kid to be active in lifting weights versus not doing anything at all.
Even just like going to the basement, like.
But there's that mentality, right? Like, oh, they're safer to not do. That's not true, though. Like, that's actually could be doing them more harm long term.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's like when you brought up, Tommy, one time where people get injured and stuff like that, and they just sit and rest the whole time instead of kind of slowly working back into it, even though it might hurt a little bit. Like, it's gonna help you in the long run.
Yeah, and there's a few different like progressions to that, whether it's like 3x12 or like go till you feel pain, and like we've talked about that. But I mean, if a kid gets injured, it's like that's a totally different topic.
But,
I mean,
we're talking more general here.
But that's gonna you're gonna include like a physiotherapist and more specialty wise. But you can have a more generic, say, program for kids, especially strength wise. That can be crazy generic. For adults, every adult is going to be more or less different, just because different jobs, different activity levels. Whereas a kid should have roughly the same activity level. I mean, what kid is really competitive when they're 7 years old?
Yeah.
They just want to have fun.
Yeah. Or what could, like, even, like, elite athlete-wise, like,
Yeah.
how many kids are going to be... I mean, you're going to notice, like, a Connor McDavid playing hockey. You're going to be like, holy shit, this kid's going somewhere.
Yeah.
But even then, I imagine, like, there was some, like, okay, we're going to stop playing hockey for a bit because... Or whatever. There's going to be other sports. Because, I mean, if that kid does have that passion, they're going to come back to it, right?
Yeah.
It's not like Connor McDavid wouldn't have been Connor McDavid if he didn't play hockey for a summer,
No,
right?
he's
Watch, I get called out for that.
yeah, by him.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Connor McDavid watched our podcast.
It was shit.
Yeah. It's like, I'm
played
gonna fight that Tommy guy. Just straight up.
If I get to meet him, he can beat the shit out of me.
Yeah. Smile on my
Well
face.
worth it.
Yeah.
Smile on my face.
Yeah, he's amazing. But that's a crazy. So if we're talking about even like, now we're going off topic, but if you look at like Connor McDavid's knee injury that he had, that's like they did a Sportsnet for the All-Star game. They did like a little mini documentary on. I don't know if you saw that because I'm looking at you like you saw it.
I know what you're talking about, but I didn't watch the.
Yeah, so he had a knee injury where his shin slid into the post, and he had some ligaments torn inside of his knee. So when his tibia like shoved back against his femur,
Nice.
and then it just like tore some ligaments in there. We don't have to go into that, but he decided not to get surgery done.
Yeah.
And I mean, 8 months later, with surgery would have been an incredible feat, and then without surgery, it's even like unheard of.
Yeah.
And then he scores like his first game back, and like just an incredible human specimen. And that could be like an outlier to the rule too. Like, could other athletes do it? Maybe not. I mean,
Who knows?
could Joe do it?
Let's find out.
Yeah.
Let's find it. It's worth it. Let's try.
No surgery.
Ow.
Yeah. Let's go play an NHL now.
Yeah. See you guys in 8 months.
Not doing it.
Yeah. Legs gone.
Yeah. But yeah, that's I mean, that's some super interesting stuff just with like sports rehab and everything too.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the unfortunate thing with just I know the last like weightlifting workshop that I went to, the coach was talking about like at an elite level, you're going to have elite coaches. Like, you're going to have really good coaches, but they're going to be working with athletes that are going to know a decent amount.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, at a lower level, you're not going to have that elite coaches where it's mostly needed. Like, you need really good coaches at the lower levels to teach this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So,
It's true.
if you're teaching kids how to move, make sure that coach
Knows what they're talking about.
knows what they're talking about. If they're squatting, if they're benching, make sure that squatting, hinging.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, that's going to be crucial to how that kid progresses into any sport, right? Or how those joints align with like a lunge and stuff like that. Because, I mean, we always want longevity, especially with kids. And I know, like, female youth soccer, there's so many injuries, like just riddled with overuse of like gameplay. Then they're doing the same in practices, and then maybe they're not doing a strength program, and it's just a vicious cycle. But I mean, it's a lot better than it was too. So
Nice.
yeah.
So in short,
No.
kids shouldn't just.
Kids.
Lock them up and don't let them do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we know what type of parent Cody's gonna be.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
You get in the basement. You squat that barbell. I don't want to see you until you hit 135 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. No food until you hit it.
No.
Baby goo goo gaga.
Yeah, good. I'll see you in 3 years.
Here's a tub of protein. It should last you 3 years.
There's water in the tap. Dry scoop of protein.
Yeah. 4 years old.
Yeah, hey dad.
Hey dad.
Little Hercules.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that? Oh, that is your guy.
My guy.
Yo, man.
Must be nice.
But yeah, I think we went through a lot. That was good.
Oh, yeah.
That's a really
That
solid.
was a good topic today.
Yeah, good questions, good topics.
Yeah, actually, the question was really good. Hopefully, we keep getting more questions like that.
It'd be sweet. Those are really good questions.
That was a very, very.
What was
good
his name
question.
again?
Sammy Sosa.
These Sammy Sosa. He doesn't know about skull crushers?
Very, ex baseball player really wants to know about skull crushers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very avid listener of the podcast, though.
Apparently.
Yeah. So.
And Connor McDavid.
And Connor McDavid's gonna reach out to
Man,
us.
we made it fast. 5 episodes only.
Yeah.
and-
This is blowing up.
Our 12 views. 2 of them are.
Connor McDavid. Sammy Sosa. Wow. We made it big,
We
guys.
made it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
No?
Thanks for listening.
All right. Yeah. So then, is there any updates that we want to follow on for future topics and stuff like that? Because it is still Nutrition Month.
It is.
What?
And unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we said, we're gonna get.
Are you going to call anyone out?
Are we gonna call anyone?
Yeah.
For bad
For
nutrition.
bad behavior?
No, like someone who should be on this podcast with us but hasn't been.
Oh, Mr. Hollywood himself.
Mr. Hollywood
Mr.
himself.
Hollywood. He's been an incredibly busy man, so I think
Yeah.
we can cut him some slack, but he doesn't have time for little chumps like us.
Yeah,
No,
he's
Hollywood.
He's,
He's Hollywood.
above us now.
Yeah. He's always been above me.
Yeah. Sounds hot.
Hot.
Must be nice.
But yeah, so we're gonna have him on eventually. Very convincing.
We didn't even say.
Yeah, we were not
Everyone
gonna
knows
say.
who Mr. Hollywood
We're not
is.
gonna say. We'll have them on eventually, and he'll be a damn riot when he's on here. And we're still kind of scrumming up a list for some guests.
Yeah.
So message us if you
yeah,
want to be
so-
on this thing.
So yeah, message us if you want to be on this thing, or if you would like to see somebody on. This
Yeah,
podcast.
suggestions too.
Yeah, so we could
That's a
get
good call there.
some other people in the field
Just have
in Winnipeg, ideally, on the podcast.
Ideally.
We fly them in.
I don't think we're at that point yet.
We'll fly them in.
Yeah. So far, we've lost $50,000.
Yeah, but this podcast is
Connor
rocking.
McDavid is for you.
It is a rocking. So I think that's pretty good. So that was episode 5.
Yep.
All right, thanks for
sticking
tuning
around.
in.
Tuning in, yeah.
Thanks for sticking around for 5 episodes.